What's up, Eagles Nation? What's going on, NFL world? How you doing, division rivals? This is Stephen Hyder with Gate City Sports Channel, the sports channel where the cerebral NFL fan comes for about 10 minutes of daily content. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whenever it is you get around to watching this, guys. Once again, Stephen Hyder, Gate City Sports Channel. All right, guys, today's topic. Listen, quite a few of you guys have just been hitting me up talking about Steve. Steve, did you see that undrafted rookie free agent we drafted, Adrian Killins, out of UCF, University of Central Florida? I mean, dude, what do you think about that guy? I'll be honest with you. I'm somewhat familiar with Adrian Killins just because although I live in Greensboro, which is quite a distance from Greenville, I did spend, like I said, I was an NC State student. I did spend a lot of time in Raleigh, and Greenville and Raleigh are slightly closer together than Greensboro and Greensboro are. So I used to see a lot of ECU games. And because of, the opportunity to see ECU, I watch a lot of the local, college football teams around here. So always, represent my Wolfpack, man. But outside of the Wolfpack, man, I watch, App State games. I watch UNC Charlotte games. I watch North Carolina A&T, NC Central, ECU. Like, pretty much I watch them all. Elon's right up the street from me. So I am familiar with the kid. I definitely watched him do what he did against ECU. I watched that on TV. It was, he ran all over him. So I was somewhat familiar with this young man. But listen, I never really studied the tape on the kid. You're just kind of watching these games as a fan when you're watching them. I'm not sitting there as a coach talking about, I would have schemed this way. You guys get what I'm saying? Like, I'm not sitting there as a position coach like, man, you know what? He really did not get in and out of that break correctly. Like, I don't watch games that way, guys. I watch games like anyone else does as a fan. And then I study film later. Now, this is what I think about Adrian Killins, guys, before we even jump into the film. Man, this kid is explosive. He runs. I mean, this kid has got them happy feet. That boy, he hits a gear, and it's over if he gets in open field on you. This kid just made so many plays for a little guy. I mean, he's little, guys. I mean, I would say, I think they list him 5'8"-ish. He's probably about 5'6"-ish. About 160-some pounds. Look, not ideal, stature for the NFL. But I got to tell you, man, this kid, boy, if he adds just 10, 15 pounds of muscle, can still keep that speed he has, I'm telling you what, man, he might have a career in the NFL. All right, y'all, without further ado, though, let's break down the film. Let's talk about the fit, where I think he would place among the Eagles, what I actually project him to be on the 55-man roster now, since we're increasing by 2 roster spots, and how does a guy like this slip onto the 55, right? We got to discuss that, man, because you can't just put everyone in there. So there has to be reasoning for that slipping on there, or where you would place him if you're placing him outside the 55. All right, y'all, without further ado, let's jump into today's topic. Adrian Killins, running back, UCF.
Gabriel is the quarterback. A gap run, and there he goes.
All right, guys. So let's talk about Adrian Killins in positional alignment. What I saw from this young man in the backfield. However, how was UCF utilizing this young man? Shouldn't be any surprise, just the way modern football is heading. Single back set mostly. I did not see this young man frequently used in a formation to where you have package utilization, where you have the quarterback under center and then Adrian Killins, 5 to 6 yards deep behind him. I didn't see that type of formation used quite frequently with him. Mostly he was offset to either the left or the right. The type of plays they were using him on were more like draws. You saw some like kind of trap plays. I saw, a few where they're just basically trying to get him. They're trying to get him to the sideline. He's very much an east and west runner. He's not a stick the foot in the dirt and go north and south kind of guy. But he's got that shake. He's got that, ability to really get by you. And, they're going to put him in the, packages that make the most sense, right? They're going to utilize him in the alignments that make sense to use that athleticism. And I think that's where this kid would play in Philly, which is a good thing because Philly loves that little quarterback draw. They love running those like kind of traps where they're pulling the guards and stuff like that.
This is just a counter run, one of their top plays. They've got athletic linemen. They pulled them from right set up nice.
This kid gets through the hole, you're in trouble because he's going to hit the 50-yard line before your defenders even understand what just happened. This kid has got a burst like none other. So I do think that schematically he fits. in terms of the way the way that he was aligned in college and the way that we like to use the alignments that we, with our running backs. I do think there is a nice little marriage there between the two, and I can understand why the Eagles looked at this kid's speed and didn't just say, oh, well, he's fast, but, oh, wow, the utilization, like the personnel package and the utilization they had him at the alignment fits what we like to do here in Philadelphia.
72 rush yards total. Killins around the corner. He has speed.
So definitely think that there's merit for that here.
From the 17. Milton from the pocket, loops into the end zone, diving catch.
All right. If you were to ask me, who does Adrian Killins kind of resemble? Like, who? Give me some comparisons in the NFL. Listen, I think he's very similar to the 5th round pick of the Detroit Lions, Jason Huntley, but he's faster, but he's not quite as big. I also think that there are some legitimate comparisons to Boston Scott, although he's nowhere near as big as Boston Scott. But they're very similar kind of scat back types, okay? That's where he fits. And if you're talking about how does a guy like this, who I do think has an uphill climb to make the 55-man roster, I think he's much more likely to be a practice squad player, although I do see some potential. I do think that there's a small chance this kid could make the roster. And the reason why is what he offers you, okay?
Flips it short. Killins breaking free.
We just seen the video clips there. He's a dynamic receiving back. I was really searching through because I wanted to see this kid in action as it pertains to him being a receiver. And I thought that the kid played very well as a receiver. That's a big thing. You're going to have to be a receiving back if you're going to play that scat back role, especially in Philadelphia. And I think he's really good at utilizing himself in matchups.
We're talking about a staff that's vibrant and young enough to really help develop their players.
Killins.
Second thing is, if you want to be, if you want to play in Philadelphia and if you want to play in the league in general, if you are a little guy, and this guy's beyond little. I mean, he's a lot littler than Jason Huntley and then guys like Boston Scott. You better show that you have a ferociousness or a competitive nature that allows you to stand in there against much bigger guys like linebackers and even defensive linemen coming in and put down a block.
It's a 5-inch guy in the slot.
Harris had a big catch earlier.
And that's what really does scare me about this kid is I don't know about third down situations with this kid because can he hold up? He would have to illustrate he can hold up and make a block there. The last component to this, guys, is special teams production. If you're going to be a team's 3rd or 4th running back, depending on how many running backs they're going to keep on the roster, you better contribute on special teams. And this is where I think the kid has a minute chance to make this team, guys, because he's electrifying and he returns kickoffs.
And ventures out. Killins. Watch out.
Field position and getting better, production out of your special teams is just one way the Eagles can improve in 2020. And I think it's a way that not only can we improve, but we kind of have to improve because it just wasn't good last year. And because of these reasons, I think that the kid has a slight chance. But these are the things I'm looking at for him. He's a scat back. Can he pass block? Okay. And then also, can he catch the ball outside? Can he get outside and can he make a catch? And what kind of, production does this young man give you in terms of special teams? That's the way I look at this guy as I'm trying to figure out the fit for Philadelphia and the probability of him making the roster.
Here he goes. Adrian Killins to the house.
Guys, I think one of the more interesting storylines to kind of finish out today's talk, guys, will be about the competition for the 3rd and possibly 4th, depending on how many running backs we keep. That competition between Warren, Killins, and Elijah Holyfield. Because Warren is also a contact bounce back. He looks pretty good. I'm going to be doing a film study on him. We know the Eagles were really high on Elijah Holyfield. They really wanted this kid. This kid is a very big physical running back. He kind of made, Warren and Holyfield makes sense also in terms of team needs for that short yardage back, a guy that can go push for a yard or two, a guy that can go get it down on the 1 yard line if you're trying to get in there for a touchdown. It's going to make for one heck of a competition when you weigh that out against a guy like, Adrian Killins, who's more of a scat back. He's more built the way that Boston Scott's built, but he's a little smaller in stature. But man, you know, when you look at some of these guys like Adrian Killins, Adrian Killins makes a lot of sense because this kid can play special teams. I mean, he can be a dynamic football player for this Eagles team with only touching the ball 2-3 times a game. And that's something that, you know, you got to keep your eye on because whether we like to admit it or not, special teams impacts the season. And this kid can add that element to it. So I do think there is a fighting chance that this young man could make the team. Now, by no chance am I saying it's a layup. I would even say that it's probably 60-40 in favor of him not making it just because if you look at the needs of the Eagles, I think it really depends upon will we keep 4? Can we get this kid to clear waivers to get him onto the practice squad? I mean, those questions have to be raised in this particular type of evaluation, guys. But you know that. All right, y'all. These are my thoughts on the young man, but you know I'm going to ask you. I want to know your thoughts. All right, y'all. You know how we close out these videos. We do a little E-A-G-L-E-S. All right, y'all. Let's go Eagles. All right, guys. Let me know your thoughts, guys. I'm interested. I like the kid. But y'all tell me, what do you think the probability is he actually makes the roster? All right, guys. I got to run. I got some other stuff to do, but hope y'all enjoy the video.